Hello, we're back. My name is Harry Tambuatco. With us, we have Father Jerry Manyalang. He is the parish priest of the Mini Basilica of Manaoag, as you all very well know. Father Jerry, again, thank you very much. I'd like to bring you in now to this other concept. Now that I have identified, through your assistance, Cardinal Tagle is limited to the Archdiocese of Manila, like there is a mayor in every district, so to speak. Now, we've got the issue of politics. First, let me ask you, how do you view politics? Do you view it as a source of confusion? Would you view it as prevailing interest between one person to another? Do you view it as worldwide, politics is supposed to be the guiding force of government to identify the legislative, to create the laws, where you have the executive basically to execute specific laws, and the judiciary. But when it's all muddled up, we have what you call the strong person, the strong concept called the presidency, which is what we have today. Now, the president does not make it any easier, bringing in, as of late, a point of view of Cardinal Tagle saying that he is for the very well-written Bangsamoro Basic Law. I'm problematic with that because I think it's totally unconstitutional. But the issue I'm trying to bring up first is the politics. How do you view politics as a priest?
We go back to the original idea of what politics is all about. Politics is the affairs of the polis. Polis
Yes,
means,
correct.
of course, the city or the town or a
Community.
community. And the affairs of the polis is supposed to be good governance.
Which is
Nothing
what
more.
politics is supposed to be,
Precisely.
ideally.
Ideally.
The governing activity. Yeah.
But the reality is the fact that, well, it has become the governance only of the few.
Correct.
In other words, it is the interest of the few.
Yes, I
Well,
agree with you.
as we know very well in our country, whose interest are they working on? As a matter of fact, in our country, it's only the politicians who are getting richer, more powerful, or have more influences, have more privileges, infinite privileges,
Graft and corruption.
even the privilege to steal.
Now,
Okay.
the priest in every area, especially in your area, kasi your devotees are not necessarily the traveling tourist Filipino who goes and pays homage to Manaoag, because it's a very popular church and people go there to pray and to be one. You have a miraculous statue there, that sort of thing. Now, my problem is you're being the parish priest. You also have the grassroots, the people who live in that area, who I wouldn't necessarily call Forbes Park.
Right.
Diba? And
Yes.
not necessarily the very educated. And they look up to the priest for guidance.
Right.
Can the priest say, ayoko makisali sa politiko, ano lang ako, theory and the study of the Bible and whatnot? Hindi pwede because hinahanapan kayo ng taong bayan na i-guide mo naman kami, Father. Ano maganda rito? Di ba? Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're right. As a matter
So
of
you're
fact,
part of politics, is what
we are part of politics. In the first place, as human beings, we are political beings. We are supposed,
You're a leader. You speak in
right.
front.
We are
when you-
political leaders.
Correct. I
And we are
agree.
supposed to
Yes.
be concerned with the governance of a state or a town or a city.
Yes, you can't
That's why,
excuse yourself.
as a matter of fact, we have to be there. And political acts or political activities are human activities.
Correct. Wherein, yes.
As human activities, it is subject to right and wrong. And that is where we enter. Because we are supposed to be moral guardians.
Yes, you're guided by faith to correct what is wrong.
You're right. I
But
agree.
with no interest.
No interest
sa inyo,
supposed to be.
no interest.
Because whenever that interest comes in, then you are a suspect.
Correct. Now, when the politicians come and they muscle themselves, they exert their muscle, and they corrupt the situation in the provinces, in the communities, the municipalities, the cities, what does the priest do? The priest has to be the guiding force, correct? The only
You're
one
right.
we can run to. Hindi naman pwede tatakbo ako sa judge, tatakbo ako kung saan-saan. Hindi pwede. Kay mayor, hindi pwede. Sa inyo kami tatakbo.
Right. And that we experience. As a matter of fact, as priests, we are not only priests, so-called, but we are also prophets and kings. As a prophet,
Well said, yes.
as a prophet, we speak in the name of God. And if situations call, we are supposed to denounce things which are revolting, things which are wrong, things which are condemnable. That was done by Jeremiah the prophet. It was done by Christ. As a matter of fact, who were those Roman authorities or who were those Pharisees? He fought against them.
Oh, sinabihan niya.
Sinabihan niya.
Hinarap niya.
Hinarap niya. And even John the Baptist.
Pero bakit sa Pilipinas, Father Jerry, parang, I hope you don't mind, parang kinukulang ata mga pari natin. Natatakot. Number one, binibigyan niyang komunyon yung mga yan.
Right.
Obvious ba? Nakikita natin eh. Alam natin magnanakaw, binibigyan niya, kinokondon. Ito in this specific case, the cardinal himself affixes his signature in something that is so unpopular for 4% of the population. Parang the minority wins. Isid na natin ang Mindanao, bigay na natin sa mga Moro. Parang ganon. How can he do that? He has betrayed the Filipino. He has betrayed the Catholic Church. Hindi ba dapat sabihan ng mga bishop, uy, tumigil-tigil ka dyan, ha?
Oh, well, in the first place, it has already been expressed and said by Archbishop Villegas, the president of the ZBCP, that we are for the peace process.
Everybody is.
Yes,
How can you say
you're right.
no? But this one is not. It's
Right.
only for this misguided terrorists. Ang peace process, lahat involved.
Right.
Di ba? Lahat, all the
As a
all
matter
the
of fact,
stakeholders.
in continuation with that, well, the ZBCP wants to include everybody.
Everybody, the Lumads, lahat
The
sila.
Lumans, the Protestants, the non-Christians,
Christians even,
and
lahat sila.
everybody.
Oo.
Just like the arm.
Correct.
Oh,
They
that
are
everybody participates.
Correct.
And not only for a particular people, and the interest and whatever fruits that will come about there must be for all.
Correct.
Does not isolate anyone, but everybody participates in the political process. That is why one of the experts in Mindanao said that this BBL should be studied longer and
Huwag
longer.
madaliin.
Yeah, that's wag madaliin, because there are many things there that have to be refined. And if that done so, it may be the source of conflict in the future.
It definitely will be. But what do we do when we have a situation like no less the cardinal who is saying, go, approve it. And then the other bishops, ang problema, how come the church, you don't speak with one voice? How do you reconcile that,
Well,
Father?
Probably it is his personal, I would say, personal choice to be there.
But
It
he
is
can
not-
say
he's
that
not-
as a layman.
Right.
Don't go in there wearing your robes and wearing the cross and saying, I'm Cardinal Tagle, and I'm going to sign this and say this is correct. When the rest of the other priests, hindi ba dapat magkaisang boses lang?
Okay. But people should understand that he is not actually speaking for the whole Catholic Church.
But that's where the illusion,
Right.
that's where there's disillusion.
Yes. That's why it has to be made, it must be explained well to the people. But
Because-
it is not the what you call this, the opinion or the thought or the side of the whole Catholic Church in the Philippines.
Pag
It is its own.
nagkamali kayo
Oo.
as priests, parish
Right.
priests, you can be sanctioned or
Yes.
penalized by the CBCP.
Can be by, but usually our superior, our own superior.
Kasi may chain of
May
command.
chain of command.
May chain of
Right.
command kayo.
Right.
Hindi yung diretso kagad.
Right, oo.
But the church as a whole speaks with one voice.
When
Can
it
we
comes
say
to,
that?
Yeah. When it comes to faith and morality.
Politics.
One voice.
But what is the
Poli-
difference within faith, morality, and politics when politics becomes the reality of issues or what we call current events
Correct.
that guide us? Our politics should be guided by our faith, just like our Constitution.
Right.
I mean, I believe and I know, and I've read it once over, this Constitution, the very Constitution that we are supposed to abide by, especially those that swear to it, including this president,
Right.
are supposed to abide by the Constitution, which
Right.
is written in the shadow, if not the influence, of the Roman Catholic Church. Faith. Correct me if I'm wrong. Di ba, ang Constitution natin is based on our faith.
Substantially, yes.
Yes, substantially.
Substantially. As a
So when
matter of,
someone's going after it, mali ginagawa niya, hindi ba dapat sabihin naman ng CBC, oy, tumigil-tigil ka dyan. Huwag ka magsasalita dyan. You
right.
go to the back.
That is where sometimes the conflict begins whenever, for example, there are opposite or contradictory thoughts, which may not necessarily be the thought of the Catholic Church.
Oo
As
nga
a matter of fact, all dioceses enjoy semi-autonomy. In other words,
Yes.
the bishop is the king there. You don't have anything to do with me when it comes to the running or governing
Of
this
the
diocese.
church, of the diocese.
The diocese. The same thing with Cardinal Tagle.
But the
Dito lang sa
governance
Manila.
of the diocese is the governance of the people, guiding the people, not necessarily just the religious practice or order. Because the discipline or the order and the governance, or what you call this supporting, the support,
right.
The church support,
Right.
from how you keep the church going, to paying the electricity, ano yung backroom efforts yan. The church is the people.
Right,
Without the people, there is no church.
right.
And you teach that every Sunday. God
Right.
is within the same person.
Right.
You have to practice
Right.
godliness. Di ba?
Right.
Pero what happens when our hierarchy and those that we look up to are confused with each other? Doon ako nalilito.
Right. Because they enjoy independence from each other, actually. They're autonomous. But when it comes to the unity of faith and morals, they are one. Otherwise, this church will be a divided and broken church.
But what
But
do we
when
do
it
with
comes to-
politicians who have no morals?
Right.
I mean, magnanakaw sila, alam nila, pero sa simbahan, pupunta
It
sa simbahan, dala-dala niya Mercedes niya, tsaka pamilya niya, di ba, pakikita.
Right.
Hindi lang magnanakaw, pinakita pa, pinagyabang pa sa taong bayan.
Sometimes, of course, we have to be very, very prudent about how we express our indignation, how we express our thoughts. We have to be very, very prudent. Otherwise, if we are very imprudent, and there is more trouble, there is more conflict. And there is where sometimes we go into that scenario in which the state will tell the church, mind your own business. And the church will do it because they don't have police force. Okay? So,
The church doesn't need the police force. The people
right,
is the
right.
strength of the church.
The strength of the church, but it's not always the kind of people power that we can have anytime we want to. Okay?
But that's
That is
because the church refuses to dictate to the people, oh, wag mo botohin yan.
Right.
Hindi kayo ganun eh.
Indeed, we are not.
Yeah.
Unlike the other sects, probably the black voting they say. But you see, the Catholic Church values more freedom rather than anything else. We want people to be responsible, so exercise your freedom. We cannot dictate upon you. We cannot just command, order what kind of conscience you will have. Exercise your conscience, exercise and express what you think is right. That is more important to the church. Because we are supposed to be responsible, we are supposed to be mature. We cannot dictate on anyone. Unlike, for example, the rest of other section religions, they can dictate upon their members, and which we hate.
You don't like that.
We don't like that. We hate.
May tithings pa nga sila eh.
That's right.
May tithings
The
pa eh.
church does away with tithing.
No.
Although it's there, supposed to be
That's how
also
you
about
survive.
the jury. Yeah. But no, give it
Yeah. Or
to
don't
your
give it at all.
generosity. Or don't give it at all. Just be generous. That's something the church also
We're
wants.
going to have to take another
Okay.
short break. Ladies and gentlemen, I was talking about the reality of politics. Now, obviously, you and I know that when we go to church every Sunday, which I'd like to think most of the people that watch this, every Sunday, whether you're extreme left or extreme right, or you're in the middle, katoliko kayo, gaya ko, simba tayo, pinakikinggan natin yung pare pagdating sa sermon. That's the only thing that's outside the readings, the academic readings, or the support words that we have to abide by, because this is the sacrament of the Mass. Now, when they talk, sana nga, no, kung isipin mo, sana diktahan tayo ng pare, no? Sabihin sa atin, wag mo botohin yan kasi liberal party yan. Wag mo botohin yan kasi oligarchy yan. Wag mo botohin yan kasi hindi mahusay na tao yan. Wag mo botohin yan, 10 asawa niyan. Yung ganun ba, sana lang man, kung sabihan tayo ng simbahan, ano lang pare, para matuto naman tayo. After all, alam nyo, yung pinaka-popularity, nag-rating sila dito sa popularity ng nangyari kay Pacquiao, di ba? Alam nyo po, in the Philippines, the highest rating, attendance on Twitter, on all social media, etc., the highest attendance and the highest persuasion and everyone's interest was when the Pope visited us. It went up to about 80-85%. Pacquiao was way back in the 60s and going down to all the other issues. And yet, we are not being told to sound one voice. Alam niyo po, hindi ako naniniwala, wala po Catholic vote. There is. Kaya lang sana, kung sabihin sa atin ng simbahan, no, huwag ang Liberal Party. Huwag ito. Ito na lang botohin mo. Di mas maganda sana. When we come back, we'll talk of slightly other issues. We're talking about the other current event that's facing all of us because of the Mary Jane Veloso issue. And because of our economic rise, is there trickle-down effect to the grassroots? Alam ba ng taong bayan, yung sa ilalim, na AAA rating na tayo at napakalakas ng ating ekonomiya? Or are they still poor? And are they growing poor? We'll be right back.